Well, hello, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are listening from. Welcome to Tottenham Hotspur, USA. Of course, I am DJ Paul. You see me to the right of your screen, my left, and then down below me here is today's topic. How much do we really know what's going on, especially in the back room? And so let's just address the signing of Conor Gallagher, and we'll probably spend 30 seconds on D'Souza, who's a signing as well with the window. Brennan Johnson going out, the potpourri of injuries that set in. And we're halfway through the window, and pretty much we are looking at not much help. It doesn't really bode well when you have two, three players going down from the same game, or in consecutive game you're losing a player, and we didn't have a strong squad from the jump. But one of the things that bother me, or I've been concerned with, is making the rounds as far as the internet, more so YouTube, where I do a lot of participation in chat rooms and podcast. And what I'm beginning to find out as I go along is there are people or hosts and multicast and two three different channels and what appears in whose channel it's the flavor of the day. And so what I find is that the independent thought is beginning to go away. Initially, when this whole thing started, it was having independent media, was to give your own opinion as a fan. But now I think that we are beginning to feel like we own the lay of the land, and therefore we are supposed to now sort of indoctrinate our followers to believe that what we are telling you. Let me say this: there are very few podcasters who are journalists, who are newsbreakers. Let that sink in for a minute, right? Very, very few. It is important for certain people who are in the know to stay ahead of the message. There are people who are doubling up on what do they give to their followers and what they give to their media house. And sometimes you annex both of them. So what you will notice, right, is, and I have not seen it, and a legitimate media house like Sky Sports, um, some of the journalists that are there, sports journalists, may have their own podcast. I haven't seen any. And so, therefore, I can't draw a conclusion that this is prevalent. And so, the information that they're putting out there via their Twitter account and stuff like that are just medium that are being used to get the message out. What is happening is that people like us will take it and will spread it a little further, give our opinion on it. And that's not what I'm talking about when I'm saying that there are people who think they know whatever they're saying is real what it is by speculation, by adding an opinion to a fact, as limited as it might be. And so take for instance Conor Gallagher. I think I'm losing where I wanted to go, but I'm going to go here and hopefully I'll make my way back over to where I really wanted to be. We are not supposed to be the arbiter, but we are becoming that, wherein we are telling our subscribers that, over and over and over and over again. And sometimes we don't realize it, that we are getting so stuck in and dug in that we can't see anything further than what we are saying. And then you take that from platform to platform. And then when other guest comes on, so if you're a solo like myself, and then someone else comes on and it brings his opinion, and someone else bring their opinion, and it spreads all over. So after a while it becomes a little cliquish. There's a certain podcast that I follow, and I'm drifting away from the main point again, and I talk about us talking past a certain generation. And also there's a notion that if you're not from certain area, right, and you don't speak with a certain accent or fluency or whatever it is, you don't know anything about football. I've gotten it. I'm Jamaican American, and so I love my accent. I'm not going to change that for anyone. I'm not asking. I've never really digging and said, I want you to subscribe, come back and listen to me. I'd love for you to do that, because it's not about monetizing or anything like that. I want to be able to speak freely. If it gets to that point, I'm not going to sell myself to cover for whatever opinion I really want to give. But at the same time, I'm not going to call anyone out. What I'm saying is that there's a certain individual or some individuals, and you start to talk about Tottenham as it is. And don't forget this. You're not really giving anyone a lesson on Tottenham. The internet is there. If you're having a discussion in the now, this is what we do every day. Is that the first time we said Matistel, then we start talking about, oh well, what team would Matistel gets into? Do you think he would be anywhere near City's team? And then we go off from there, and I remember Delali, and we go all the way back to Pochettino, and then who the graybeards now start to go deeper into Perryman and 1972 or 82, and so we have a generation that never experienced that. We are lucky as that generation to be here and following the club ever since. Those who were born in 1980, it's not their fault. But what we should not do, and what we should not continue to do, is force them to see the club we see, or we see the club. We want to know that they give their support for the club and be passionate about the club. But stop, for heaven's sake, beating down the generation about when we used to. There are clubs that used to. When I was growing up watching Spurs, there are clubs that I'd love to watch, want to watch, like the idea of watching them and the players that they have. It wasn't so much about the club, because your love for Spurs is what it is. But you want to see those teams, and the names are so synonymous with the Premier League from back then, until 1990-91, when they changed to the Premier League, and then the second division championship, to which we have now. Those teams like Derby County, Sheffield Wednesday, Norwich City. You want to remember some of the older teams that were in the first division back in the 80s and the 90s, ushering this Premier League here. And so this generation that comes through and they start watching the Premier League in the 80s and the 2000s. The world has evolved so much that you spend hours and hours every day trying to convince them of Graham Roberts and Pat Jennings. They're not interested and of as your deal is. And so what's happening is that your conversation is going over their heads because you're not listening to what they're saying. They grew up on FIFA. You're not listening to what they're saying. And so when it comes to a player like Conor Gallagher is in their age group, and that's what they know. Luca Barnett Williams is in their age group. Vuskovic is in their age group, and Gray. So my point is, you can't, you shouldn't be beating down the fans who want to root for Mathys Tel because he's 19 years old, because that's what they know. You're hoping that these players gets good because there are players out there. So you can actually look at how we sign players, and we can blame that on the organization. We can blame that on the scouting that bring us the Mathys Tel, who is not going to be good enough for a team that is supposed to be in the top six. But what you should not do is continue to belittle the player themselves. And that's what we're doing every day. That's exactly what we're doing, because the minute we start to talk about what happened in the game, we switch to remember Pochettino, remember Martin Joel, remember Harry Redknapp. It's gone. It's not coming back. It's gone. Appreciate the era for what it is. But like I said, we can't continue to talk past this generation, and we're doing that. If they want to go to the stadium with a crappy team and go root like crazy and come back out and curse the manager, that's what you're going to get. And so telling, this generation about the generations or two that passed before, because we're some old farts. We have to understand that as well. So we're talking past a generation. And I wanted to get that out because I see that all the time. I'm in chat room and someone asks, so what do you see in Oda Bear that will say, well then, he's not going to make it. No, he should not be anywhere near Spurs. That's not the question. He has some skill. He's young. Do you think nurturing him, do you think having a senior player ahead of him will help? Do you think if we had a left winger with him being behind him where he's playing 10, 15 minutes a game and not being asked to start for a club as big as Spurs with the expectations? He didn't scout himself. The backroom did. And so when he comes in as fans, we have to support him. We don't have to, but would like to support him until he stops wearing the badge. We talk a lot about Brennan Johnson. Limited skill, but he's a great young man. He's gone, so no need to get back to that. And at the same token, right, we're missing Brennan Johnson because what Brennan Johnson brought to the club, no one else is able to replicate that with his limitations. And even now, as we try to look at what we have in what's missing, who is missing, who would we love to fill this gap? We have Gallagher coming in. And the first thing we talk about is, oh, he was from Chelsea. Who give a rat's ass? We don't have anyone right now apart from Palinia and maybe Javis Simmons being bedded in, that is capable, has the ability, the experience. Maybe later Gray is going to get better. Maybe later Bergvall is going to get better. I don't think Sarr is going to get any better than what he is. I don't see the trajectory. I see a better trajectory for Bergvall and Gray, but I don't see that. I don't see that for Udogi. And I could be absolutely wrong, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to support him until he goes. They all are not going to succeed. And there are failures at bigger clubs. Massive, massive failures. There are massive failures at Manchester United. There are massive failures at Arsenal and City. But they go quietly into the night. But for Spurs, it's Armageddon if we bring a player in on £25 million and expect him to be at the same caliber of someone for £85 million. That's how we talk about the players. I am of the belief that as bad as the team is, I have absolutely no choice on a daily basis but to support the team. I can talk about them, talk about the things that they're lacking and all of that, but I can't talk about the team when we're sitting third as though we are in relegation. And then when we're in relegation, I turn around and said, well, that's where we're supposed to have been anyway. And that's what a lot of the fans are getting, because no one wanted to believe that we were capable of sitting third. You don't have any control over that, let me say that. But at the same time, if you continue to think the worst of your club, it's going to permeate throughout the fan base. I am saying this because right now I cannot understand for the life of me when you look at Conor Gallagher as a player, when you look at what we have side by side, that we went out and we signed Conor Gallagher. I do believe that if there were space enough for him at Aston Villa, he would have signed there. I also believe that Javis Simmons would not have been here if we had signed Eza for one, and two, if Maddison was healthy. I really believe that. He would not have been here. But circumstances dictates that you do certain things. Everything is evolving. It is football. It doesn't stand still. It's always perpetual movements, and things are going to happen. Chances are, if Saka didn't twist his ankle, then we would have signed Eza because it was right there. There was a need. Maybe if we had gone after Semenyo, before we re-signed the contract, then he wouldn't have been at City today. But once City comes in, if City didn't have a need, then Manchester would probably have a need, and maybe Arsenal would have a need. But when no one was thinking of him and we were thinking of him, we weren't attractive enough to him. I don't know what's happened behind the scene, why we couldn't have plucked a Semenyo before he re-signed at Bournemouth. But what I do know is that he has been playing well, and City decided that he can fill the need that they have. And therefore, once City enters the race, it's over for us. So this idea that just pay £80 million, even though the release clause said 65, even though his salary is going to dictate that he can get up to £175,000 a week, we should pay him $250. It doesn't work like that. You have to have some attraction, something for the player. We think that for footballers or for sports people, right? Because they get paid this exorbitant amount of money, they don't have any pride in wanting to win or being in the best place to win. It's all about the money. If it was all about the money, then we could have easily said, hey, Semenya, guess what? We'll give you $300,000 a week. Forget about City, who has a chance to make you into a winner. The objective is to win something and play for the best. And we are not even close to the best. But let me jump back over to the Conor Gallagher situation. Now, there's news and stuff coming out about why he was not a Spur or Spurs when Ange was here. What's the relevance? You know what I'm saying? What is the relevance of that? He's now a Spurs player. He went to Madrid. He spread his wings. Didn't work out. We have a need. He has a need because he wants to be in the World Cup team. And now he's signed at Spurs. Move on. We just was able to fill a gap that we have. We need a midfielder. We need someone who can actually play ball. Not to disparage who we have. We have injuries. We have inexperience. We have underdeveloped in terms of the players that we have. What we should be grateful for is that we're getting a young 25-year-old midfielder with experience, international experience, being a captain, rather than all the other things that we're finding to talk about, which is irrelevant in my opinion, because you probably don't like the player. Everyone is not going to like every player that's coming in. But the argument, right, which let's just say this. Tottenham fans, right? I love Marcus Rashford. Love Marcus Rashford to death. And I look at Marcus Rashford's situation and said, Marcus Rashford is talent, real talent. Let's go get him. Most Spurs fans, nah, Marcus Rashford, overrated, not good enough. He's playing at Real Madrid. Rapafina, when he was at Leeds, I used to say, go get him. Go get that guy. Magic on his boots. Oh, he played for Leeds. He's not good enough. He's captaining Barcelona. Those are the players that our fans are saying not good enough. We want Kudus. And if I tell you that Kudus but it is talented but lack football IQ, you would take me to the mat. Just look at Kudus' game. Possession without progression. Never making those around him better. We like to talk about Harry Kane. When Harry Kane wasn't being serviced, he went out and said, I will service you instead. He found a way to be a part of the game, to make Son better, to make those around him better, make the team better by an extension of himself. Kudus, with all his skill, does not make anyone around him any better. It's all about his flair and his strength and his ability to do this within the confines of certain area on the pitch. He has no breakaway speed. We saw that. And I said this to someone. Give me Jared Bowen and take Kudus with you. Give me Brennan Johnson, because I know what's going to happen. You look today and you see Semenyo, he's off the wing. Where did you find Semenyo? He darted in the box when the ball goes down on the byline to the left. When the ball goes down to the left and we have Kudus, he's standing outside the 18-yard box on the other side of the pitch. He doesn't even come central. And we're going to turn around and say, he's our best player. No, he's not. Van de Ven is our best player. He has the most offensive skill of any of our players, but by extension, is he making anyone better? Nobody around him is better. If you want to make someone better, move inside. Take your man inside. Take that double team and triple team inside and allow Porro to come down who can cross the ball off the right foot, which is better than you crossing it off the wrong foot. There are ways to get around that, ways to get around the double team and the triple team. Play out of it. Lure them into it. Make the quick passes. Quick give and go. Build your triangle early. I know they're coming. You saw him against Forest. And you have Anderson double team. And Anderson is their creative player. Anderson is their number 8. And Anderson is going down there to go double team him with the fullback. Kudus is headless. But I still support him. I just want him to be better. I'm just pointing out flaws in his game when some folks are saying he's the best or he's the best we have. Move inside, move to the left. Show that by an extension that is what makes you better. Like I said, Hurricane and Son make everyone around them better. Kudus is not. Hope he gets better real fast. But Brennan Johnson, for me, is the prototypical goal scorer. Gets within the frame of the goal. That's what we need. Those crosses. Richarlison, great header of the ball. Underserved. No crosses coming in. In my opinion, that is. Because some people are saying that he's being serviced, and I'm like, really? I don't see Odebeer crossing the ball in the air. I don't see Kudus crossing the ball in the air off his right foot. See him dribbling. See him hooking it back. When you hook the ball back, it's anybody's unless you have a direct pass. But anyway, I went on forever, way beyond what I really wanted, and I haven't really said anything that I really want to say. But we need some more signings. I think this is a good sign bringing Gallagher in. Akliush. Wow, what a talent. What an absolute talent that kid is. And normally, I would give my opinion on whether or not we can get him. And I think if we're going to, I know that Diamandi, Leipzig had come out and said, we're not doing business. I don't think we should waste time with that. We get the answer. You test the water. And as long as you talk to the agent and get the feel for the agent, and the agent said, guess what? He doesn't want to move. The club said doesn't want to move. We're still going to put an offer in. And the agent said, don't really bother. Then you move on. And he said, okay, if it's not him, then maybe Akliu should be the man. Maybe they want to cash in on him now. Especially if he has a clause in his contract. And you can bust that. You can turn him a bit. He's talented, man. Oh, my goodness. I would love to see him in a Spurs shirt. I like real ball carrier, and that's it. That's him. He has it. Love to see that. Love to see him in a Spurs shirt. Anyway, I'm out of here. Peace. I'm DJ Paul for Tottenham Hotspur USA. Bye.